18 seasons on TV is quite an achievement for any show. While we'd expect crime investigation to be filled with mystery and twists, NCIS seems to always leave us fans wondering. In a show full of action like NCIS, maybe we could let go of a few plot holes here and there. However, there are some muddled up details that even the biggest fans of the show can't seem to get over. Here's a rundown of the top NCIS plot holes that make no sense. First up, Ziva's love for kosher. We understand that some characters have dietary preferences that add value to their character, but what happens when their preferences keep fluctuating? Ziva's devotion to eating all things kosher was great at the beginning, but it has certainly raised some eyebrows over time. Sometimes we would see Ziva eat nothing but kosher. Other times, she would completely forget about her cultural habit as if it weren't even a big deal. This might sound like a minor fluctuation to you, but it was certainly a major flaw by the writers. The rules of going kosher are pretty clear to us. Either you're all in or you aren't. Next, we have Gibbs and Tobias's questionable history. When Gibbs and Tobias first met, they didn't seem to know each other at all. If anything, fans saw them as two strangers who just interacted for the very first time. Now, this narrative was perfectly fine until we learned that they shared an ex-wife. How do two people who married the same person not know each other at all? Seems pretty far-fetched to us. Maybe it was just a slip by the writers, or maybe they completely forgot about the two characters' initial interaction. Sounds like NCIS tries really hard to develop a meaningful history between characters, but conveniently forgets how they were introduced in the first place. Up next, friends forever? Writing dialogues for good friends can be a piece of cake, but the writers at NCIS appear to take it just a notch too far. Early in the show, we discover that Gibbs and Ducky have known each other for the past 10 years. While that's a really long time to be friends with someone, the two characters seem to be a lot friendlier than just 10 years. As Gibbs and Ducky get to talking and recall old memories, it seems as if they've known each other and worked on cases for much longer. During the show's 400th episode, it was finally revealed how the best friend duo first met 40 years ago. We saw that someone had kidnapped Gibbs, and Ducky happened to crash into the car holding Gibbs in the trunk. You can't just forget about someone you met when you were being abducted, right? Take notes, NCIS. Next, you can't read like that. Cultural assumptions seem to be the biggest plot holes in any TV series. You'd think that actors and writers would know better by now, but unfortunately not. When we watched Ziva reading a piece of Arabic script in season 4, not all of us were paying close attention to what might be wrong with the scene. However, some ardent fans pointed out that Ziva was reading the script from left to right. Sounds pretty normal, right? Well, it isn't, considering it was an Arabic script. Ziva should have been reading from right to left. While this is just a minor mistake, it happened to upset some fans due to cultural appropriation. Next on our list, one keyboard, two screens. One reason why we love NCIS is the real-life forensic technology and cool labs that we get to see throughout the show. However, we would really love it if the use of technology would make more sense. Do you remember when Goth Girl and Nerd Guy both got hacked at the same time? It was a pretty interesting scene when they were trying to catch the hacker, but it did come as a surprise to us fans that both of them shared a single keyboard throughout the scene. We haven't ever seen one keyboard powering two separate screens at the same time. How did nobody on the set realize that something was wrong with this scene? Now, where did the bullet go? Action scenes are watched over and over again, which is why producers need to get them right, especially if you want to play around with flashback scenes. Speaking of flashbacks, NCIS never seems to get them right. In Gibbs' flashback of killing Pedro Hernandez, he shoots a bullet with his sniper rifle that enters the front windshield. The bullet was clearly shot from the front as it hit Hernandez right in the forehead. Fast forward a few seasons, and we saw the same scene again in season 7 of NCIS. However, this time, the trajectory of the bullet had been changed completely. We now see the bullet entering from the driver's side window and hitting Hernandez on the left side of his head. How did the bullet suddenly change direction? Or is it some sort of black magic? Or is it just another plot hole by the writers of NCIS? We would bet on the latter. Next, dead or alive. Dealing with complex timelines is already difficult for screenwriters, but imagine mixing that with flashbacks. At this point, we think that the NCIS finds it normal to forget about who is dead and who is alive. During the episode Honor Code, Gibbs sees a flash of working alongside Kelly on his beloved boat. Everything everything seems normal to us until we saw Kelly wearing a shirt with the NCIS logo. Now, that's a major plot hole, since Kelly died long before Gibbs started working at the NCIS. In the same flashback, we also see Gibbs with gray hair. This was another plot hole, as we have previously seen flashbacks of Gibbs' life after Kelly's death, and he always had black hair. Maybe the writers forgot about what details they've revealed to fans in the past, or maybe they were just being careless about filming the shoot. Either way, it was definitely a major plot hole. Up next, Stuck in Time. NCIS has struggled with timelines on more than one occasion. In an episode titled Bikini Wax, Tony proudly announced that he graduated from Ohio State University back in 1989. Later in the show, we hear Tony tell others that he graduated in 1992. There's just a 3-year difference, but nobody would easily forget their year of graduation like Tony did. Other small details that left fans confused was the fact that Tony supposedly joined the fraternity in 1989. According to that narrative, 1992 would be his senior year when he broke his leg while playing an intense basketball game. Surprise reveal? The season 16 finale of NCIS finally gave fans what they had been waiting for. Gibbs told Nick Torres, Tim McGee, and Ellie Bishop that he murdered the man who killed his family. It made sense that everyone else was shocked, but why did McGee not know this already? McGee has been on the NCIS force since season 1 and was already aware of several previous revelations on the show. He even saw the season 7 incident firsthand when Gibbs was kidnapped by someone who worked for Paloma Reynosa, aka Hernandez's daughter. Fans pointed out that this might have been the first time McGee heard Gibbs admit to the killing openly, but it definitely can't be a new revelation for him. Another fan also said that Gibbs' revenge is basically an open secret by the time season 16 started airing, so there's no way that McGee wasn't already aware of this. Next, On a Mission. When Jenny Shepard and Mike Franks met in season 3, it was pretty obvious to us that they were nothing but strangers. Their initial interactions were all about the two getting to know each other. Everything seemed normal until the season 12 episode Blast from the Past. The ironic part is that this episode was truly a blast from the past, as we heard Gibbs mention a past mission that he worked on with both Jenny Shepard and Mike Franks. Sound odd? It definitely was. If the two had never met before, how could they have possibly worked on a case together with Gibbs? Maybe the writers forgot about another small detail yet again? Lastly, from basement to explosion. The most recent plot hole that we saw on NCIS came just when we learned the fate of Leroy Gibbs, the season 18 finale. We watched Gibbs' boat explode into pieces in the final moments of the show, but even that scene raised fans' eyebrows. Most importantly, how did Gibbs get that boat out in the water? For many long seasons, we saw Gibbs building his boat in the basement. It was never revealed how Gibbs was planning to get the boat out of the basement, but every fan of NCIS wanted to watch that mystery unfold. Unfortunately, NCIS just decided to skip over that part, and we suddenly saw the boat floating on open waters. It's not wrong for fans to feel cheated by this ending. After all, they saw Gibbs make that boat for 7 years in a closed basement, without ever mentioning how he was going to get it out of the basement. That's all the plot holes of NCIS that we could think of. Do you think there are more inconsistencies in the show that we missed? What do you think about this careless writing? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.